Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my speech. Today, I will be telling a personal story, and hopefully by the end of it, you guys will learn a life lesson and learn from my mistakes from the story, because I know I certainly have. So, as a sort of connection to my story, I have this little artifact, or a symbol for my story. These are two beads. It's not anything terribly special. They're made out of wood on a string, and they're painted blue, used around the neck, but they are fairly important in my story, and I believe serve as a sort of parallel to me. So, I've always jam-packed my summers full of things, making things back to back and having a lot of turnaround time. Sometimes things didn't always go as planned, sometimes they did. However, one summer, things did not go definitely not as planned. And I believe that I've learned my lesson about putting things so close together, about not examining the risk versus the reward, and learning better for the future. So one summer, I decided I wanted to do two specific camps. Now these two camps were fairly high in the ability that you need to complete them. Both were amazing experiences, but you needed to be physically and emotionally ready for them. They were not something to be taken lightly. However, one of the camps was only offered one specific week, so I had to go that. And in my mind, it was the perfect opportunity to put the next camp right after that, one behind the other. I believe that this was an amazing plan, it would work out great. It did not work out that way, unfortunately. The first camp was a lot of fun. It was a military boot-style camp where we were separated into ships. Now, as a ship, you have leadership. And for leadership, you have a captain, someone who's in charge of 40 individuals, runs himself ragged all week, and takes care of everyone. Now, knowing that I had a camp the next week, I decided to volunteer and become the ship captain. And that's what these beads are. They represent the ship captain, but I believe that they represent more than that. They represent my determination to stay dedicated to my ship and providing for others. I wore these all week at that first camp. Now after that first camp happened, I was feeling fine. I slept the whole time to the next camp. But when I got to the next camp, I started having a lot of issues. I was very hysterical at first, being very emotionally drained from the next one, and then I started being physically drained. I slept a lot, I didn't talk to people, and I even had to have my pack taken away whenever we were hiking. So, all in all, I got very sick. And at the very beginning of the week, I wore these beads a lot, showing my determination to stay there and be at that camp. However, as the week went on and I began feeling worse and worse, I started wearing the beads less and less, showing as a sort of deterioration of my determination to keep going at that camp. So, I hope that you learned from that. So, I believe that because of that, I didn't get the full experience that I could have at that second camp. I could have gone a week later to that same exact camp and may have gotten the same exact experience from my perspective. But instead, I decided to act hastily and go to that camp anyway. So my hope is that you learn a life lesson from this. Look at the risk before the reward. Sometimes whenever we look at the rewards for our actions, we are blinded by them and unable to see the real risk to them. The idea of a reward can distract us from the real risk and the real harm that could come behind them whenever we're not fully looking at the entire picture. From my experience, I was looking at the reward of being able to jam-pack everything, to do more, see more, go more. However, I was not looking at the risk that I could get sick, because I believed that can't happen to me. It's such a small risk, but it was a lot higher than I actually anticipated. So my life lesson, and I hope you all take from this, is that you look at the risk before the reward, you take into account what's going on around you. Thank you for coming to my speech.